Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the GallowgateShots YouTube channel and podcast. We are back for another match reaction. This time, Newcastle dismantling another big boy in the Premier League at St James's Park. Newcastle run out 4-1 winners against Chelsea. I am your host today, Kris, joined by Scott and Iain. I wasn't expecting that, boys. I know I said that quite a bit the last couple of seasons, but do you know what it is? We went into this game, and I said to my brother just before kickoff, I looked at him and I went, I'm not sure about this one. Obviously, Chelsea hitting decent form, not great form, but hitting decent form recently. And then, obviously, the injury concerns which we had. And I just thought that this could be the point where we get a defeat, possibly a heavy defeat as well. How wrong was I? So, Scott, just going through the starting 11 there. Willock missing again. So obviously Willock's just returned from injury, but now it looks like he has some form of an Achilles injury now. So Longstaff also missing in the midfield as well. So Miley starts again alongside Bruno, who's back from suspension, and Joelinton as well. If we look at the defence, I think we could pretty much guessed it, to be honest with you. So Pope in goal as always, Trips on the right, Tino on the left, and Fabian and Lascelles at centre backs.
I think that's the only thing you couldn't have guessed was Trippier and Tino on the other side. Yeah, you would have thought it would be Trippier on the left and Tino on the right, but it worked. Well, we'll talk about it a bit later on. It worked to an extent.
Yeah. And obviously up top we've had Miggy, Gordon, and the return of Isak as well, which was great to see. So, Scott, I think Eddie Howe's pretty much just has to pick whichever team's fit at the moment. And
that's all that was left.
It is. That's all that's left. Scraping the barrel sometimes, as we saw later on in the game. But the starting lineup, Scott, like I said, I saw it and I'm seeing the starting lineup. I'm saying, no, like it's still a decent team there. It's just my concern was the impact from the bench if needed. Luckily, obviously, we didn't need that impact either. But starting through the game as well, Scott, it was pretty end-to-end in the first 20 minutes.
It was a good start. I mean, if you talk about Willock, obviously being injured, you could say that every cloud has a silver lining when you look at the performance that Miley put in that first half. Well, throughout the game, to be honest, but it was one of those games where you could see there was going to be a lot of goals. You see there could be a lot of cards as well. It seemed to be a very lively event. There was tackles going in left, right, and centre. We were getting our chances. Chelsea were getting chances. It's a horrible one to watch as a fan of one of the clubs. If you're a neutral, it's one of them games where you think, "Oh, I'll sit down and get some popcorn on. This will be good. This one." But as a fan of one of the clubs, you're just thinking, "Oh, I just want to either dominate or be dominated," because I can't stand this not knowing which way
you want to be dominated. Is that actually the line you just used?
There you go. But I thought Miggy and Trippier linked up very, very well in the first 20-25 minutes, and I think Chelsea got a bit smart at what we were doing there, so we had to go down the other flank, which Gordon and Livramento equally as good. I thought they were good. My only criticism of Livramento, and this is nothing on him, it's just because he's not on his natural side. He had to keep cutting in. He couldn't really whip a cross in with his left foot. So he had to keep cutting it back and then trying to whip a cross in or pass the ball. So again, nothing against Livramento. He's not playing in the right position. I just thought that was the only kind of weakness that he really had there. It's been like seeing Miggy on the other side where he's always got to cut back because he just doesn't trust his other foot.
Yeah, well, I think we all know that Miggy is obviously very heavy when it comes to his left foot. Of course he is. Iain, we'll go through the goal. Obviously, Scott's mentioned Miley and the performance that Miley had. He sets up the goal for Isak. And the amount of time which Isak had to hit that ball, he literally stopped the ball and thought, I can pick and choose where I'm going to smash this. But just to take it back a step, that build-up and Miley's calmness just to pick out that pass. And I think Eddie Howe said that's a pass you would see is from the best. Obviously, we're not getting carried away and saying Miley's the best, though. But it was great to see, wasn't it?
Brilliant. Just the whole passage of play as well. So Trippier's ball in. I think Gordon gets a little bit of luck. I think it hits him on the back of the head. But when you watch it back, he's sort of jostling with Thiago Silva, who's no slouch compared to Gordon's build. And he does really well to hold him off, gets the ball, breaks. I think we get a little bit fortunate with Joelinton's touch. I don't think that's an actual pass. I think that's his first touch. But like you said, it falls to Miley, and the composure that he has to, because that's not an easy. It looks so easy. He makes it look easy, but to thread a ball through with enough pace on to beat 2 or 3 defenders in a very narrow space, not overhit it so it goes out of play or goes through to the keeper, and find Isaac's feet when he's being pressed as well, is like you say, it's well ahead of what a 17-year-old would be. I mean, when I was 17, I was like waiting to go on dates to Nando's with lasses that never showed up. So if only I was if only I was a 17-year-old and was in the Premier League.
Maybe it's because Bruda ordered a medium.
maybe it is because Bruda only orders a medium. But no,
if you watch it back, Bruno is screaming for the ball off Miley as well. And for Miley to ignore a player of Bruno's stature and think, no, I can play this pass, I'm fine, and play the pass, just speaks volumes about his confidence at the minute.
Even Isaac to sort his feet out. So it is sort of drilled at him. He takes a touch and does a weird sort of step over to get his feet around, but he does that so quick, and we've all seen how quick his feet are. And then, like you say, he's got sort of the grace of St. James's Park to pick where he wants, and he finishes it fantastic. And it's good to see him back in the squad. Obviously, sort of touching on previous weeks, we're a little bit concerned. Yes, Gordon has done a decent enough job, but you prefer to have your regular strikers there, and it was a fantastic goal. But full credit to Miley. What I really liked as well is in this sort of the interviews after, because obviously he's only 17-year-old kid, he comes across as quite, I wouldn't say nervous, but sort of just quite stone-faced. Whereas the celebration, you've seen how much it meant for Miley to get an assist, and then obviously all the players give full credit to him, which was fully deserved.
It was that moment in St. James's Park where Isaac picks the ball up and he smashes it in the neck. Do you know what it is? Probably because of the introduction of VAR, that took a bit of the celebration away from me, because where I'm sat on the other side of the ground, he looked miles offside. But obviously looking back at the highlights now, he's well on, not even close, he's well on. And do you know what it is? It took a little bit away from me. Yes, you still celebrate, but you don't have that instant burst of emotion because you just think, oh, crap, he's offside. Yeah, I don't want to celebrate. Just obviously egg on your face at the end of the day. But wasn't the case, Scott. And it's a great goal. And Newcastle 1-0 up inside 13 minutes.
Yeah, and just going back on the celebration, you see Isak running towards the, I think it's the Milburn corner he's running towards, if I remember rightly. And he kind of stops himself and thinks, no, hang on, I'm giving Miley credit. Yeah, and he just turns around, points at Miley, and then grabs him, and you see him just screaming in his face, which, it just shows the togetherness that they've got. Like, for a player of Isak, who you'd think, you're a striker, you've grew up and you've learned off, probably one of the most arrogant footballers ever known to man, and Zlatan Ibrahimovic, and you turn around and do that to one of your own players, just speaks volumes of him as a player as well. Because he could have just, knee slide in the corner, took all the plaudits, but he actually turned around and acknowledged the ball from Miley, because I think he knew himself how good it was as well. Yeah, but yeah, 1-0 up, and you'd like to think, the game would maybe settle down a bit, but it absolutely didn't. That end of that first half was it was even worse.
Yeah, so the first half honestly was end to end, and it was non-stop. It really was. It was mentally draining watching that game, because Chelsea looked dangerous on the break. Every time they did look dangerous, but so did we as well. So it was like a game of tennis. You just heads went back. If you were sat in the East Stand, you must have been knackered by the end of that. But 10 minutes later, and Chelsea get their equaliser through Raheem Sterling. Iain, you mentioned before we started recording there that the free kick which was awarded from the challenge, which was made on Sterling by Kieran Trippier. And I think it was our own mistake which made them break.
Lascelles loses it.
Lascelles tried to do a Fabian Shaw and go on a little journey through the middle of the field.
And left no one there.
Yeah, absolutely left, and they just hit with. Then there was 3 players around Sterling. Trippier from behind just tries to nick it. But obviously you wanted to chat about this foul which was awarded.
Yeah, so I can see in real time why it was given from a referee's perspective. Obviously, VAR's not brought in for literally every foul, but for me, I didn't even think there was that much contact on his back. It doesn't there was no. Whereas going back to the Arsenal game, the Joelinton alleged foul, you could see sort of a full contact and a resistance against the foul. Whereas Trippier, literally, it's almost like you just sort of puts his hand on him to console him almost, and he goes down. I didn't think there was much in it at all. I can see why it was given in real time, but when the benefit of having the replay, I thought was very, very soft. But it's a really good free kick. Unfortunately for us, there's a lot. Well, I see a lot. I've seen a few people say that Pope could have maybe done better. When I watched it back, I'm thinking, well, why hasn't he moved? I don't think his feet's planted right, and it kind of looked like he's expecting it to come off the crossbar rather than dip down. I think it just catches him out, but it's a really good free kick. I don't think there was much he could do about it.
I called it once again. I looked at Adam, who sits near us, and as soon as that, it's a perfect position from a free kick point of view, just outside the box. And I thought it's dangerous. This from the ground, because obviously it's right in front of me. I was the same. I'm thinking, looking at that, and you saw Pope take a step to the left. Then obviously the wall's there to block the shot from coming in. Obviously, if you've got a talent like Sterling, can lift the ball up and over straight away. It leaves a big target to aim at there because Pope's over towards the left hand side of the goal, and he doesn't really make the effort because it's so fast it's gone. Like by the time his brain thinks I've got to get over there, it's already in the back of the net. I don't get it, and this is something which we've chatted about on the Monday night show quite a bit. Likes of free kicks, the wall's pretty pointless most of the time from that close. Like, do you need a wall? Like,
I mean, we had some big players in that wall as well. It wasn't like we had, Miggy and Trippier in that wall. It was like Lascelles and Joelinton, like, 6'2", 6'3" men. To get the ball up and over them and into the net, it takes some doing. So I mean, I think the wall is there for a reason. Obviously, it would be a lot easier if there was no one stood there, just whack it into the net. But yeah, is it harsh on Nick Pope to say he could have done a bit better? I think maybe he could have been positioned a bit better to maybe dive for it. But I think that's one of them that you could have two keepers in the net and they're not saving it. Like it's too close to the top of the goal, I think, for me. But we'll move on because it doesn't really matter.
If people were pointing the finger at Nick Pope, then he done himself justice not long after that, because he pulls off an absolutely outstanding save to tip around the post. I can't remember who took the shot, but I think
it was that Enzo Fernandez.
Yeah. Is that who it was? So it's an absolute fantastic build-up from Chelsea. Once again, they just hit was so fast, and the speed and the power that ball gets hit at, and for Nick Pope to dive across and tip that around the post, like I said, is fantastic. It was honestly could be up there with one of the saves of the season, which you'll see, because if that ball had went in the back of the net, it's a whole different game for Newcastle to come from behind. But it goes in at 1-1 at half time. Second half comes, lads, and it's a dominant performance from Newcastle. Yes, Chelsea still had chances, but Newcastle, once they got their second of the game through Lascelles, and we'll talk about the goal in just a moment, but it was after we scored the second, there was no coming back from Chelsea, because we were like a dog with a bone after that. But the goal, Scott, Anthony Gordon, that ball to whip it in, that early cross, and Lascelles to be there as well. It's a great finish from Lascelles as well. It really is.
It was. And it was one of those games because just to move back a little bit, before we scored the second, you had the Trippier free kick, which hit the crossbar. You had Joelinton's header, which, let's be honest, was harder to score than it was harder to miss than it was to score.
That was worse than the chance he had against Dortmund.
It was.
Yeah, that really was.
I think there was a foul in the box, so it actually turned out to be a free kick, so it wouldn't have counted anyway.
I think Bruno had
you just thought it's going to be one of them games where we have our chances, we don't take them, and they're going to do a smash and grab. But like I say, I think Raheem Sterling pushes Trippier in the back, which he'd been doing all game, to be fair. And he got a free kick, and then he kicked the ball away, so he got the yellow card as well. And you're expecting Trippier to whip it in. He doesn't. He plays the ball, which he normally plays to Tonali when he's in the middle there. Like when it's in that part, he normally crosses it to Tonali, who can then whip it in. I think it's Joelinton or Bruno. I can't tell when they've both got bleach blonde hair which one of the two it is on the telly. It was one of them. Crosses it over to Tino, like I say, into Gordon, and then it's a first time cross, and it's just Jamal Lascelles just arriving, showing Joelinton how to head a ball, and getting it bottom corner, and there's nothing the keeper can really do. Lascelles had so much space. Again, he could have picked anywhere in that goal to head that ball. It's just the natural way where he was running. He just hit it straight into the ground, and it's 2-1, and you're thinking, okay, this is good, but he still couldn't really settle because, like I said, Chelsea had their chances throughout the end of the first half, and I think the beginning of the second half. I think Lascelles gives the ball away, and I think also Pope passes the ball directly to Gallagher.
That was it, yeah, in the first half.
You think, oh God, what's happening here? But anyway, yeah, it's a well taken header, and again, I think it does Lascelles a really good kind of mental justification for him being the team, because let's be honest, he wasn't having the best of games up until then. He gave the ball away a couple of times. Roger put it perfectly in our group chat. He's trying too hard to be too clever. If he just sticks to the basics like he's good at, he's absolutely fine. Yeah, and I think that the commentator said that was his first Premier League goal in 2 seasons. So again, that's that duck broken. Nice for him, and good to see again the reaction of him and the rest of the players. Just surrounding him and applauding him for his goal.
Well, it was a very muted celebration from Lascelles, to be honest with you. Obviously, we'll take the lead from that game, and he runs towards the strawberry corner. When I'm saying runs, it's a light jog to the strawberry corner, just emotionless. It's like it's a strange celebration from Lascelles, but it's great to see.
I think he knows he's made amends for the first goal, because let's be honest, it was his fault that they broke and got the not maybe he's got the free kick, but it wouldn't have happened had he not lost the ball. So maybe he's just thinking, right, I'm 1-1 now in my head of what I've done and what I haven't done. Time to move on.
So we're still celebrating the first goal, Iain. Then Joelinton comes up and nicks the ball from
Thiago Silva.
Thiago Silva, isn't it? So no idea what he's doing with that ball. It just seems like he just completely loses it, and it's like he's setting himself up. Then Thiago just he loses the ball, and Joelinton's just there. High press once again from everybody, because everybody's closing down at that point. High press, Joelinton nicks it. And have you ever saw a player hit the ball with that much power when there's no need to whatsoever? It was like, do you know on FIFA when you score a goal, then the ball rolls out a little bit, and some random player smashes the ball into the net? That's what Joelinton did.
Exactly like that. And speaking of men's, I think he was taking the frustration of his missed header out on the ball. But you completely, and again, looking at complete opposites, he said Lascelles was quite a muted celebration. Joelinton's was the complete opposite.
Cry.
I genuinely thought, I've never seen an angrier celebration other than when Ketsbaia started to chin the advertising boards. But no, like you say, it just comes from that high press, and obviously, given with the injuries that we'll have, there's been a little bit of talk about, well, is the way that we play affecting the injuries because we play at such high intensity all the time? We press really well. I was a little bit concerned about whether we would change our game plan from that because of obviously the injury list. And even the second goal that we won that free kick through a press, they've taken a kick off and we're straight on them again. And like you said, it was Bruno and Joelinton just bearing down on you. Which, I mean, I would probably shit myself if I had Joelinton run at his full pace. But yeah, he nicks it, and like you say, he doesn't think twice about just smashing it. And like Scott said in the group chat, I think if the net wasn't there, I think the ball would still be travelling. He hit it that hard.
It was like, on the Mighty Ducks, goal, when that big bloke hits the puck and everyone jumps out the way. It was like that. People just jumping out the way. If the keeper had caught it, he would just ended up in the net anyway.
It's crazy though, because it's almost a full goal that he's got to aim at as well, because the keeper's on the other side of the goal.
He's just runs away. Like when you were in school and you're in year 7, the year 11's got it, so you just run out the way. But no, it's great to see, and just the passion from his celebration was, because I think he had a lot of frustration, because I was saying in the group chat at half time, didn't think he had the best game. I think a couple of his decisions were possibly made through a frustration of missing that chance. So seeing at the end of the first half when he got his yellow card where he clotheslined, I can't remember who it was. I felt that Reece James, I felt that was out of frustration for missing his open goal. So it's good to see that he's managed to keep his head in the second half, play his normal game, and then he's reaped the rewards from that.
Talking of Reece James, can I just say, for his red card, if I'm a Chelsea fan, I don't ever want to see him play in my team shirt again.
It looked like he wanted just to get off the pitch.
Didn't want to be on that pitch anymore. He knew he was on a yellow card. He made a cynical foul, and he just emotionless walk off the pitch. It's just like, why are you even here? But it sums up Chelsea.
I think so.
The whole season and whole of last season, they just don't want to be there. It seems like they've got a lot of a lot of expensive players on big wages who they've got no interest in playing football together. They want to be the star.
Honestly, he had a horrible afternoon. It was highlighted on Match of the Day as well. I think it was Shearer on Match of the Day last night, and he obviously looked at the two fullbacks, one being Trippier, and how well Trippier was. Sterling couldn't even get past him at all. No. Then obviously you look at the other side, and like you said, Reece James, it was a pathetic performance from him. It really was. Like you said, if you're a Chelsea fan, for two of your players to get booked for kicking the ball away is criminal anyway. Yeah. Like, we've seen a couple of our players this season get booked for doing the same, and it's just ridiculous. Like, it's just such a waste. If you're going to get a yellow card, at least do it for fouling a player that's on the break. Yeah, do it properly. Don't get it for kicking the ball away. Like, you could just stand in front of the ball, and like that'll slow it down. But by you kicking it away, you're guaranteed to get a yellow card all day long.
Just petulance. Like,
it is.
Sheer
it's ridiculous.
Petulance.
But maybe it's arrogance as well. Maybe they've done it for so long and got away with it as well. But now, obviously, the referees are a lot more heavy when it comes to these yellow cards and cautions for obviously time wasting, because the Premier League are trying to stop it. But yeah, he gets his second yellow card, and it's just after the 70th minute, I think it is. So I'm sure there's still a good 20 minutes to play after that. Yeah. And like you said, Scott, he did just look so unarsed about the situation. There's obviously he can't contest it because it's soft. It is a soft free kick, and if it's a yellow card, I don't really know, but it happens. And like you said, it's just so unfazed by it, isn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I say, he couldn't get off the pitch quick enough. Even if it was, because you'd like to think if it was a soft free kick and it shouldn't have been a second yellow, he'd be contesting it more, and he'd be, saying to the ref, well, what's going on here? He was just like, right, get us off this pitch. I'm jumping in the shower. I want to go home.
Apparently, I'm not sure how true it is, and you'll be able to tell us because you would have seen it. Was there a bit of an argument between him and Tyndall at some point in the game?
It was Mudryk. Mudryk and Tyndall at the end of the first half. We had a free kick, and I think someone kicked the ball away from his hands. And then you didn't see what happened, but for whatever reason, Mudryk just kept shouting over at Tyndall, and Tyndall was just giving him
it was Reece James. It was after it was in the first half because Mudryk came on in the second.
Okay.
I tell you, no, it wasn't. It was Raheem Sterling in the second half because he kept.
We'll go through the full squad,
yeah. No, it wasn't. It was the goalkeeper. No, it
was John Terry.
It was Sterling went down in the second half and wanted a penalty because he thought and he was having a go at the referee, and then he was having a go at our bench, and he kept going. So it was Raheem Sterling. We got there in the end.
One of the expensive players who hasn't.
One of the 84 players that have.
James gets sent off in the 70, like I said, just after the 70th minute, and 10 minutes later, Gordon gets his goal as well, and by God, did he deserve that? Because do you know what it is? I feel as if I say this every single match day. He just turned out to be player of the match every single game. Like, honestly, the turnaround that he's had, and we still have Everton fans now saying that he's not that good of a player. Well, I'm witnessing a completely different player to everybody else, because he has been fantastic this season. Unbelievable.
It's funny what a bit of training, a bit of self-belief, and a bit of backing from your own fans can do to a player, isn't it? Because we've given him all of that, and he's just absolutely flourishing as a player. And he's, 23? I think he is. Maybe he's 22. I mean, if he's not even at the peak of his career yet, I cannot wait to see what happens in a few years' time with him, because, bring it on. Like, I think he's going to be a great player for us for many years to come.
Absolutely loves the tune as well, Iain. Every time he scores a goal, he loves pointing at that badge. Absolutely loves it.
You know what it is? Before he signed, he was probably up there with my most hated player. And I was thinking, like, there's players that you hate, but if he was at your club, you'd love. And I was thinking, and he's completely changed my mind. Just his work ethic, you can see the desire that he wants to do well, not just for him, but for the team and the fans. And I thought it was a really clever run from him as well, like, because obviously he's at come off, so he switched into that false nine role or whatever we're calling it. And he sort of arcs his run really well. He sees the ball down the channel. And you know what it is? It's not even an easy finish. He gets it under control, sort of takes a touch back out, sort of inside. And then it's just like the way he hits it's almost like you just sort of like chips it round on the floor. Like
the angle, which is where the camera's behind the goal, where you're just seeing that little touch which takes it to the right, and in the same movement smashes it.
Yeah,
like it's fantastic football.
It's not an easy finish at all. I genuinely was really, really impressed with the whole goal, the movement, and the actual finish.
The technique's unbelievable.
It's really nice to see him, because obviously at the start of the season, people was and when we first signed him, people were saying, well, we can see the effort's there, but there's no end product. He should be scoring more goals. And sure, I think it's 8 out of the. I think in
5
total,
league goals, I think it is,
5 league goals. I think it's 8 assists and goals combined in however many appearances. I think it's 12 appearances. And so you can see he's full of confidence, and long may that continue, because I genuinely think he's been player of the season, hands down, like no question.
Yeah, it's going to take a lot for somebody to stop him from picking that up at the end of the season. Obviously, I know we're not even halfway through yet, but he's been great. He's been absolutely fantastic, and I think like you said, Iain, he's changed a lot of people's opinions. But it's probably always the same. If you played for another team and having this sort of performance, I'd probably still hate him, because he's just that sort of character. But he's been unbelievable for us. He really has done. Anything else that you want to mention? Obviously, it was great to see a couple of the young'uns get a first team appearance as well at St James's Park, being 4-1 up against Chelsea as well. It's basically no pressure on them coming into that sort of game as well. So it's great for them to get an appearance as well.
It was nice to see. I think had it been 1-1, they wouldn't have come on. The fact we had a 3-goal cushion helped bringing on, the young'uns. But it's good to get them on, because we're going to need them. I think Murphy did himself, absolutely wonderful, kind of kudos, filled a position at left back, played really well. The other 3, I don't think they were on the pitch long enough really to make that much of an impact. But again, you've got to think we've got Paris on Tuesday. You've got to rest some of them legs, because like we said at the start of this, you pick the team because that's all that's left.
It's quite a mixture.
It'll be the same team.
It
was interesting
because obviously Richie and Dummett come on, who are veterans of the football club. Richie feels like he's been here for about 40 years, that bloke. And then you've got the young'uns as well. 10 more. You've got the young'uns as well. It was such a weird situation.
Yeah, there was no middle ground, was there? And also, I think, you look at the substitutes Chelsea made, I think I seen they brought on like 233 million pounds worth of
subs.
And we brought on 15 million pounds worth of player. And most of that would have been Matt Ritchie, because I think everyone else was free. So it just goes to show that, even with a paper thin squad, we're okay. Like, I know you look at the bench, you think, oh god, yeah, we'll go. But as long as we can keep a strong starting 11, we can beat anyone. And it's just being able to keep that strong starting 11 that I think
the issue is, Scott,
we've got a lot of games in December.
We'll only have that starting 11 right now.
That's
the
absolutely.
issue. That is the issue.
Yeah.
And obviously, we've got PSG coming up on Tuesday night as well. Obviously, confidence is going to be through the roof at this moment in time. Fingers crossed that there's no further injuries, and we might get a player or two back. We don't really know just yet. Eddie Howe will be doing his press conference in the next couple of days. Actually, will it be on Monday, won't it?
Probably be tomorrow,
So it'll be tomorrow.
Match preview as well for us today, getting recorded. So that'll be out as well.
So there we go. So if you have watched this reaction, and if you do want more, there will be a match preview for the PSG game. I'll be back with the boys tomorrow night for the Always Smiling Faces podcast. Plenty of more stuff coming your way. Like I said, if you like it, just like the video. It means a lot to us. Become a subscriber if you'd like to do that as well. If you are listening to the audio, just give us a 5-star review and leave a little comment in there as well. It means a lot to us. If you want to give an extra bit back, it is just $2.99 a month to become a member. You get early access to a lot of content here. You get extra content, and you do get access to both the Telegram group, which is basically a WhatsApp-style group for all of our members. I think there's close to 200 thereabouts at the moment there, Scott.
Getting there.
And you also get access to the Discord gaming channel as well. So that's everything done for us today. Thanks very much. See you later. Ta-ra.